Hey, I'm Lilly. I'm with Jordan Yates Marketing, and we're an industrial marketing company. And today I'm here with Jordan, the founder and marketing engineer of Jordan Yates Marketing.
Hello, great intro, Lily. Guys, for context, Lily, she is our,
Digital content and marketing associate.
and so today I'm doing a little role reversal. You guys know I'm normally the one who is interviewing people, hosting things. But the reason we're doing this today is because Lily is going to interview me. As she mentioned, maybe people don't know the origin of Jordan Yates Marketing or what it is. Like let's dive into that backstory. So she's got a set of questions today. She's going to interview me. So we're gonna let Lily host today, and I'm gonna back off and just be a guest.
My first question that I have for you, Jordan, is what inspired you to start Jordan Yates Marketing?
It's a bit of like a convoluted story. Essentially, back in college, I had a job working for an oil and gas service company, and I was like 19, 20 years old. And a big thing that they wanted me to do was go reach out to facilities engineers at upstream oil and gas companies. But I didn't know any. So I was like, okay, how am I supposed to reach out and set up meetings with these people that are so technical? Obviously they're not at my school. They're not with me here. Like, how do I meet them? And I don't know if I discovered it or somebody told me to like try using LinkedIn. I don't know where it started, but nonetheless, I made a LinkedIn account and I started realizing, oh my gosh, like you don't just have to call the front desk. You can actually search specific people that you want to connect with. And so that was in the back of my mind that actually worked when I then started a job a few years later for an industrial automation integrator and distributor who I was a sales engineer for right out of college. And I was in the same boat again. I don't know any manufacturing people. I don't know any plant managers. I don't know maintenance managers I'm supposed to meet with. How do I get in contact with these people? And I was like, I remember a few years back, I used LinkedIn. But I had the issue again, smaller company, no name recognition. I was tired of cold calling. And so I thought, what's a good way for these people to know I'm not just like some bot online connecting with them and messaging them? How can I get them to start coming to me? And so that's when I started experimenting with like content creation, if you will, of I posted a selfie with a Yaskawa drive, a variable frequency drive, and then I actually got a little traction there because Yaskawa was like, oh, this is cool. This is interesting. And then I started making little videos of like, hey guys, I'm Jordan and I work at XYZ. These are my products. And they were not very good videos. They were just very bare minimum, no editing, just upload raw as is. And I started gaining traction and followers. And I never thought as LinkedIn as a place to like get followers. I'm very Gen Z. I thought, Instagram's where it's at. But I was experimenting. I was just putting myself out there. And all of a sudden, it started landing me in more tier one accounts. It opened a lot of doors because people saw me and knew who I was. The reason my company started is because some random person found me on LinkedIn, was like, hey, can you do this for us? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. You want to pay me to do this thing I'm already doing that's not that hard? Okay. Like, and in my mind, I'm like, there's like real marketing companies out there. I do not know why you'd want me. Mine is messy. It's not very good, but they liked the untraditional approach. And so that wasn't necessarily when it started, but that's when the conception started. And I would say I probably didn't have my first paying customer until about a year later. But after that, it just snowballed.
Would you say that the first customer is kind of what gave you the confidence of just putting yourself out there, not only in like the way that you were currently, but also in a way of like marketing your services as something that's unique?
I would say it necessarily gave me the confidence because I think I was delusionally confident enough as is because I had this idea in my head, like, so that was about, I would say, December-ish, that person reached out to me of like 2022, or sorry, 21. And then January of 22, I made a shift to a different company. And I was like, okay, how do I get somebody to pay me to make videos for them? Like that opportunity, it sizzled, but I was like, I need a proof of concept. And so I just started creating YouTube videos on soldering, which is basically like electronic components you have to like attach, say, a capacitor to a board, you have to solder it. So I was making videos there because I was like, how can I create something to show that I can make technical, typically boring concepts fun? Because I figured that that was what my niche was there's not a lot of people who make technical concepts interesting and exciting. And so I practiced that to where when somebody was like, hey, show me your work, what have you done? I had a YouTube channel. And so I did that. And then my real proof of concept was, I think, end of 22, I went to Hustex, which is a like manufacturing machining trade show in Houston, and I did trade show booth interviews for free. And so I knew that this was a thing people paid for, but I would do it for free. So I went up and I did a couple videos with like some robots, some machining things, and honestly, the quality was so bad. Like I did not know how to use like the right microphone for that kind of setting to where you could barely hear a word I said, but I posted it anyways. And then my big customer now today, who I've had for almost 3 years, GEA of Texas, they saw that video and they were like, hey, we want you to make a video with our robot. So it was almost like once that happened, I realized, oh, this proof of concept thing really works. And that gave me the confidence of, okay, people do pay real money for this. Like, what else can I show them to inspire them to want to pay me for the next thing? And like, I had no idea what my services was. I was learning as I went. My first thing I got paid for was posting selfies with like these little robots from Robotis, and like I was like $200. It was something super duper low key. And then I got another deal for like $2,000. And then GEA comes and all of a sudden it's a monthly customer and we're traveling to Dallas. And I'd say from there I started getting a better idea of what services I should offer. And then I've had so many other random contracts throughout the year to where it's really helped me figure out what I like doing and what I don't like doing to offer for my customers.
What were you doing professionally directly before you started Jordan Yates Marketing?
Yeah, so I graduated the degree in mechanical engineering, which is behind me because I don't have any other decorations in this room right now. While I started Jordan Yates Marketing, I was working as a marketing engineer for a ceramic capacitor manufacturer, and I worked there for a few years through the inception of it. And that's kind of where I got this terminology marketing engineer from. People always think I made it up, and I'm like, no, some company just called me that, and I thought it made sense. It was a little bit of a double entendre that like in my business, I was a marketing engineer, and at my day job, I was a marketing engineer. So it was pretty easy to keep the story straight. Whereas now my day job is like totally different. And so it's even though the responsibilities were different, but that's what I was doing then.
When you started the company, what was the main gap that you saw in the market that you wanted to fill?
That there was a lot of like marketing collateral, so like spec sheets, technical documents, and people were using collateral as content. And so they would post just like pictures of the products and think that that should get them traction, and it wasn't. And they were kind of like, why is this not working? We're posting and nothing's happening. We're consistent, nothing's happening. And I'm like, why would somebody stop scrolling to look at that? So the gap was basically, how do we have these very dry products? How do we make them interesting? How do we make people actually want to watch a video on it? And so that was really like the gap that I saw, which to me was easy to fill. It was all the other things that people are traditionally good at that's taken me a while to catch up to speed with.
Yeah, I think that also with your degree in mechanical engineering and I think your natural ability to connect with people is what really like helped you fill the gap in the market because not only did you make it interesting for people, you also added personality to it and make people care.
Definitely like helping people build more emotional connections to these things where they typically wouldn't have one has been fun. And I'm not saying I'm the only person who does it because there's a lot more people over the last few years who have started doing this as well. And it's really fun to see because now I'm seeing way more content on my feed with things that I didn't, a few years ago. And it's pretty interesting to watch.
Did you ever hear a recurring complaint from a technical customer that was trying to market themselves or trying to create content for themselves?
Yeah, I mean, typically they're just like, we don't know what to do. Like, how do we make content with like I said, like a variable frequency drive? It's not necessarily about how do we make this VFD interesting, because not everything's as interesting as like the robotic side of things, because those are interesting on their own. It's about how do we build you up as the person who's going to knock on their door? How do we get people to know you? Because we want to be in the more human to human mindset, if you will. It's like, it's not just business to business, it's human to human. The point of having the product in the video with you is to build the brand association of the products you're selling to your face, but the brand you're building is more the personality of you, your company, and like your outward facing team. And then we get people to know you, and inadvertently, they then start to know your products and your solutions better.
What do you think your clients value most about how you represent their technology and services?
Hmm. I think that they like my consistency. So that can mean a lot of things like, I don't just like start off hot, make a lot of videos, and then like fizzle out. Like I've always, and this is what people have said to me from the beginning, is like you've always been you. I've always been the kind of the same. And yes, I'm learning and growing, but I think my clients, they like to associate their brands with me because we have this fun energy we bring to it. I have people that are like, "How are you this upbeat all the time?" And I'm like, for one, I'm not. I get tired a lot. But online, we can keep that energy going because it's easy when we, batch content, we like to do quarterly content batching, or if something interesting pops up, and they're always shocked like how easy it is to make content. Like sometimes some customers they struggle a little bit, but they're shocked by how easy it is. And then they really appreciate the fact that like, oh, we only have to put in a couple hours a quarter and then Jordan will take care of the rest. Like that it just looks like we're super active online. And so I like to spread it out to where it doesn't feel so burdensome to them, but they still get that appearance of looking very busy online. And so that's something I kind of mastered on my page, and then I translate it to theirs and they like it.
Can you walk me through how a typical project flows from onboarding to delivery?
Yeah, honestly, it's so like I have these two different styles that I've kind of boiled it down to. I have customers like Zeus and GEA where I do all of their marketing. And then I have customers like Westermo where they have a big marketing team, but I work with them and we're more of the content arm, if you will, for part of their team. And then I have customers that just randomly want videos here and there because they have so much marketing power already, but they almost want to do just more of like a collaboration of influencer style or content creator stuff. So if we're just creating videos for them, it's usually pretty simple. We'll do a couple calls and say, hey, what do you want your videos to be about? Like, what is your goal? Because something that most people don't think about when they want to create videos is why am I creating videos? Like it's part of a long-term strategy. It's not magic. And so once we get that point across, then we decide, okay, what videos are we going to make? What topics are they going to be about? And we'll just roughly outline like, who's going to be in the video with me? How are we going to approach it? And then it's honestly just like an hour or two of calls. Then we set up the time to go record and we don't script anything. We just have outlines of which topics we really need to hit to make this video effective. And so I take time to learn the solution so I can ask deeper questions throughout because I think something that my customers like with me being technical, like you referenced earlier, Lily, is if they say something about the product or solution, I typically have enough experience to be able to expand on that to where we don't need to script it out. We don't need to have a scripted build of, oh, you say this, I say this. We naturally let the conversation go because then it feels like they're kind of on a sales call with the customer, having that conversation that you would have with them. So then the customer could imagine that they're in my shoes having that conversation with the person. So that's just the video style things. It's similar for like the full marketing package because typically I'll do, the content is the core of it, but then also we'll do email marketing. I run their LinkedIn pages, I train their teams on how to use LinkedIn, and it'll be a few calls of just what do you want? What are the gaps we're trying to fill? What's your realistic goals out of this? And then pretty much like GEA, they just handed everything over to me. They're like, okay, just do your thing. They gave me access to their CRM, their email marketing system. They gave me access to their LinkedIn page. And typically the first month or so, I'll get approval on the videos and say, do you like this? Yes, no. How do you want your voice to sound? And once we figure out their voice, it's smooth sailing from there because then I've got it. It's a lot more autonomous. And then we just keep posting and growing and then it snowballs. But it's not necessarily a one size fits all. It just depends on the customer and their goals. But that's the nice thing about us being so small is we can tailor to the customer.
My next question was, can you kind of explain what a typical customer looks like, what their needs are, typically what industry they're from, and just the size of the company in general.
Typically, it's smaller companies because my services, like my videos aren't the most polished, high quality, amazing, cutting edge thing you've ever seen. They're very, as we market them, relatable. AKA, I shoot it on my iPhone, we edit it, we don't do super crazy graphics or anything. Like it's simple. The other thing is technical customers. So if you're trying to sell a technical solution, anything from like a software to hardware, like anything technical really that is hard for a regular company that doesn't have technical expertise to market because the most difficult thing, and I've worked with, traditional marketers before, is trying to explain to somebody who has zero technical knowledge how to then like write a blog or make an article or video on a very technical product that is going to be seen by technical customers. Because if you don't have it right, then you can sound very tone deaf, and then your customers they think you're less credible. And so it's kind of that gap there of the people that have the lower budget but still want someone technical. That's where I fit in. I did one campaign with a company that was like lip gloss and like headache oil, and I was so out of my depth. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big lip gloss user, but like that market is saturated with girls that like can do reviews on makeup. Not where I'm comfortable. It took me like 3 days to create a couple shorts. Whereas if I'm going in to talk about like a palletizing robotic solution, I could do that in 5 minutes off the top of my head. But I'm telling you, like Lily, I literally like went to Home Goods. I redecorated my whole bathroom. I couldn't get the lighting right. I'm like, it is not aesthetic. This is not what the girlies are doing. Like, I I know what I'm good at and what I'm not. And so when I see opportunities come up where like, oh, your personality is so fun. We want to do something with you, but it's not technical. I'm like, you think that, but my personality is only more attracted to those who are in our technical space. That's where it makes sense. Once you take me out of it, I'm just kind of weird. And then they're like, I'm a little awkward. And I maybe will grow into that one day, but I feel most at home doing technical content.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. I'm personally not very technical, so I realized, especially for writing blogs and things that are like written, like email marketing campaigns and newsletters and blogs, I had to work closely with someone who was technical and knew what they were talking about, and then kind of use my creativity to make it resonate with the customers. So I took their like ideas and the way that they explain things, and I kind of worded it differently to appeal to the customers.
Yeah, and Lily and I used to work at the same company. It's how we met before, we were at this company together. And something that like I did see a lot of was like these guys would give Lily like 2 or 3 words and then be like, go make a post about it. And it's like you have to give them context, guys. Like you have to give them a little bit more. You can't just assume that somebody who is a marketer knows everything about your technical product. And so that's one of the things where it was nice when I was her boss there, because then I could take it and I can like, digest it, put it through the ringer and then, give it out to her. But she would have to like hound them with follow-up questions of like, guys, like to make this make sense, we need more information. And so that's something where I struggle on the opposite end is not having any traditional marketing training. And so that's why Lily's on the team. Lily went to school for this stuff. Lily has more experience in this area to where she sees things through a more creative lens. For instance, her business cards that she designed, gorgeous. You should have seen the ones that I tried to make were freaking ugly. And so it's nice to have the balance of both. I'm not saying exactly. You shouldn't just be going full technical, full the other way. If you can find something in the middle, that's where it's the sweet spot. And so I'm not saying that Jordan Yates Marketing is the only one that could do it. There's True Marketing's amazing at it, Gorilla 76, MFG, Tribe. Like there's so many other ones that have like really grown into this space that are awesome. But if I advise anybody on anything, it's get somebody that can meet you with the middle, if not do it all.
Where are your clients geographically? Are they mostly national, international, or mostly local to Texas?
I try to keep them down the street for me if possible, but that's not always practical because on LinkedIn, of course, you're posting worldwide and anyone can see it. I would say my base is more US. Something I've learned with more of my like European customers and crossover is my personality doesn't translate as well over there. Like I think it's definitely like I better market to the American communities and maybe like this side of the world. And not to say that people on the other side of the world don't like me. I'm just saying from my experience that American companies typically jive with my personality more. And so I'd say I try to keep them all near me in Houston because I hate traveling, but like Westermo's based out of Chicago and I really liked them. I loved their personality and I considered almost not working with them because I'm like, do I really want to have to take the time to travel? But I liked what they had to offer so much that I was like, you know what? Like we could do a quarterly trip to Chicago. It's a 2 hour flight. It's not bad. Like it's actually so easy. They're so lovely to hang out with. So the short answer is I like to keep in the US, ideally in Texas, something I can drive to. But if it's a good fit, then I'll travel for it. I'm a baby and I hate to leave my dogs, by themselves and, the husband and whatever. But like, I prefer Houston. There's just so much here that if I can have it local, I will. But if it's such a good fit like Westermo is, then I'm down to travel. But international, if it's maybe just South America, something close, maybe, but it's really just case by case.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely makes sense. What would you say people most often misunderstand about B2B marketing, especially in the technical space?
I would say the most misunderstood thing is the power of humanizing it. We think like, oh, why would a business care about John on my sales team? Like, why would we want to prop John up? Don't we just want to talk about the product? And even some of the guys like at GEA are always giving me shit where they're like, can we just post a spec sheet? And I'm like, oh my God. And Nick specifically, Nick Vargo, you know who you are. He's like, Nick, I'm like, Nick, no, we can't just post. I mean, we can post a spec sheet because collateral is important. We still want to get this information out to customers. But the thing is when you reach out to the maintenance manager and you want to sell him some relays, this maintenance manager is a person. You are a person. The people are the ones that talk and make the deals. The relay is not going to talk to the control cabinet and say, "Hey, buddy, you need any more of me? Let me just ship myself over there." Like it's still human to human. And so my guys hate it because they're like, why are we in the video with the product? It's so uncomfortable. It's so awkward. It's so dumb. Like, I don't get it. And then like Mark from GEA, he'll go to like his what is it called? Like ATHD conferences, or he'll go to like talk to vendors and they're like, oh, we love Nick in those robot videos. We love William. Like, because the Phoenix Contact guys from Germany will come over and be like, oh, Will is so cool in these videos because now we're building personal brand awareness. What we're trying to do is humanize these companies because it's humans we're talking to at the other companies. And so that's something some of the guys really struggle with because in the moment before you guys see it on LinkedIn and we're just in the room, me, my tripod, or Lily in the tripod, and a technical product that's not a robot, not moving, not doing anything, it is painfully awkward to try to make that fun. And so my goal is always to relax them, pull it out of them, make it conversational. But I'd say that is the most misunderstood thing in B2B is the fact that it should be humanized. That's my rant.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I give you a
yes.
rant per every simple question. I haven't talked about this
No,
stuff in a while.
I totally agree. I feel like especially with like the more B2C markets, it's been like very humanized and I feel like it's naturally human, but I feel like for B2B it's a little harder. So a lot of I would say like B2B companies are more resistant to getting that human touch to their brand because they feel as though it should just be very cut and dry, black and white. And like bringing that personality in is actually what will connect with their future customers. So I think that's very important.
You make a good point. I want to expand on that. Who are
Okay.
some of your favorite influencers on TikTok, Instagram? I think you mentioned Alex Earl at one point. Who are the people that
Yeah.
you follow that you've like, I don't know, bought something because they advertised it, or like who are some of the influencers that you like?
Honestly, in terms of buying things, I don't really stick to an influencer and I want something. For example, if I want lip gloss, I'll search on TikTok. That's the first thing I search. I don't even go on Google or
Yeah.
anything. And I'll look for videos that specifically don't have like the TikTok shop link because I feel
Yeah,
like those are like
biased.
usually, yeah, I feel like those are usually not very genuine. But if it's like an influencer that pops up on there and I've heard of her before or I've watched her videos before and she seems genuine and she makes content other than just selling things, that's who I'll trust their recommendation for.
Yeah. And so when they're using, say, lip gloss, and I mean, the guys are like, gosh dang it, Jordan, why are you talking about lip gloss so much again? Like, always talk about this girly stuff. We're trying to talk about technical things. Listen, you know what? Lip balm, whatever, men. I'm a big lip balm person as well. And I know men use lip balm, but something that you see is they will put it on themselves. They use it. They're doing a product demo. They're demonstrating it. And then sometimes with me, for certain influencers, like I bought something recently. I don't remember what it was, but in my head, I was like, oh, like I love this podcast. I want to support them. Like I know, like I'll actually listen to ads on the podcast because like I want to support these certain creators. And then I'll buy certain stuff because I'm like, I like that person. I understand that they're making money off this and I want them to. And if the product's also good, that's exciting. And so
Yes.
the thing is, we build these personal connections to these people we've never met who have no idea who we are, but we want to support them. And so I think the same thing is translated to this space. Luckily for you guys, with all this technical, stuff, the people you connect with, you actually probably will end up meeting in person because you can't just, drop ship stuff as simply as you can for the B2C. And so you actually get to build this connection to somebody beforehand and then meet with them in person and find these solutions. And so I think in such an internet age and people become so antisocial in person, it's really, really important that we utilize like our ability to connect online before having ever talked to somebody. And it works really well with our generation, clearly. And I think people just say, well, that's TikTok, that's Instagram. No, guys, it's LinkedIn. I was at a conference this week, an internal conference for my day job, and a guy came up to me from one of our vendors and said, hey, Jordan, it's so good to meet you. I've been listening to your podcast for years, and this predates working at this company. And I was like, oh my God, like, wow, like, okay, so I am reaching people in my industry. Like, that's so cool. And you never know who's watching, which double-edged sword. Sometimes people could be creepy, but nonetheless, normally it's absolutely good connections like that. So I put yourself out there. That's all I have to say.
Recently, I've been looking for like a red light therapy LED mask,
Yeah.
and I started actually on TikTok, and it seemed like everyone on there was just trying to like get me to buy something from their TikTok shop link. So I went actually on Google this time, and I looked through like a research study, like a case study, going through all of the options, and then I landed on Reddit. And Reddit recommended me to watch this video of this influencer who I'd never heard of before, but she made a 40-minute video going through all of like the better options on the market for the red light therapy masks. And I instantly trusted her, even though I've never heard of her, I've never watched videos. It seemed like she did her thorough research. She put in effort into it, and she wasn't just out to make a sale. She actually cared about the quality of the product and using the product herself. So that's just also like another way to establish trust, I would say.
There's two marketing tactics there that work well. One, backlinking. If the more that you are linked in different places, like she was linked in Reddit and Reddit was linked in Google and whatever, the more that the links connect in the back end, the more you're likely to be found. That's an SEO
Yeah.
little trick there, right? Secondly, customer testimonials, somebody who has used it. That's a thing that a lot of people won't put their customers like in their videos because they don't want to expose them and have someone poach them, or in that case some other red light therapy mask like she buys instead because they want to give it to her and she promotes it. It's really about like the customer testimonials because then they can speak to the experience like she did, and that's a very powerful marketing tool as well. So it's fun, like actually like having you explain your point of view and then like pulling it back out. Oh my God, that'd be such a good podcast if we did that. Of just like you explaining to me, being like, here's the marketing of what they did. Here's all the stuff that these people were doing in the back end to make it get to you. And like that's
Yeah.
the stuff I try to like reverse engineer for my customers, of like how we get these things in front of the right people, because it's not random, like it's very, very thought out. And sometimes it's luck, but that's a pretty interesting story. I like that.
Ever since you launched Jordan Yates Marketing, how would you say that it has changed in terms of the team, the client base, and capabilities?
Well, I mean, you're looking at it, you're sitting here. So, no, I mean, for like two years, I did everything myself. And that was a lot easier when I had a remote job and I didn't have to commute. I didn't have to, I don't want to say work as hard because like I really got in a rhythm there and I was comfortable. I'd been there for about a year and it was manufacturing, it was slower pace, it was easy to do everything. And people were just like, whoa, that's crazy that you could do it all by yourself. But like I said, I'm very efficient. I figured it out. I had the flexibility. Then I got laid off and I was like, oh, damn, now I have all this time to work on it. And my business really grew, but like I didn't need any help because I had so much time. Like if I could run a business by myself with a full-time job, I could sure as hell run it without a full-time job by myself. And like that month was like my highest earning month ever to where I was like, oh my God, like I could do this full time. And then I realized, you know what, like I'm only at the time I was only 25, now I'm 26. And I told myself, I didn't go to engineering school for nothing. Like I really want to stay technical. I want to stay grounded. I went back into oil and gas and like I just got oh my God, I forgot how stressful it is working in oil and gas. I was tired. I was just, more stressed than normal from like my day job used to be so chill and then it became so stressful. And not the company I work at now, but the one I worked at when I met Lilly. And I was like, okay, like I need to scale back. And so I stopped taking on new clients. I stopped taking on new opportunities. Like I didn't do any like special content all summer. Like I was just surviving and I really, really pulled back. And then, I kind of got in my rhythm at my new job where I'm at now. They changed to in August. Once again, was still pretty busy, but I had some really cool opportunities come around, like Westermo. And I was like, okay, I want to do this, but I just can't do this and my full-time job and everything by myself anymore. So I reached out to Lily and I was like, hey girl, you want a job? Like, what are you doing? And so she was like, yes, queen. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't like that. But it was honestly, it wasn't that far off. It's like a good learning experience where it's not like, God, I wish I could, give Lily a full salary. It's not that case. So, if you guys are hiring for super cool marketing people, Lily is somewhat available. But nonetheless, I realized, okay, I need to be real. I need help or I can't take this new customer. And so it was this interesting moment where my business expanded and I have Lily and then we have another girl, Sophia, who she is doing a lot more like the video production side of things. And I realized I can't do this by myself. Like I need someone or I need to skip on the opportunity. But when Antonio came to me, like I love the vibe. I just couldn't pass up on it, but I knew something had to change. Brought some girls onto the team, but it's difficult because like I said, they're both just part-time. I don't have the most time to give to them. And some weeks it's like I'm a great mentor. Some weeks I am like, hey, I have 2 minutes to talk. Like it's still hard to find the balance, but the company is taking a different shape now that it's not just me. There's more ideas, more collaboration, more faces. And it's interesting because there's the drawback of quality control of I'm not the one doing everything anymore. I don't get to have a say in like how everything's recorded. I'm not seeing the videos until they're posted, like not posted, but like sent to me for review. And it used to be that I knew exactly how it was going to turn out. I had my hand in everything. And so releasing a little bit of that control while giving them the chance to go through a learning curve is always hard when my customers brought me on thinking it's just me and they like exactly how I do things. So it's a learning curve, but also I wouldn't be able to balance what I've been doing without them. And so it's definitely changed quite a bit. I mean, it's always going to be changing, I think. It's like that's the fun of a small company. It continues to take shape depending on like how the market's going, what customers are asking for. And so if you do the same question again in 6 months, it'll probably look totally different.
Moving forward, what kind of client would you say is the best fit for Jordan Yates Marketing, and what can they expect as a client of Jordan Yates Marketing?
I would just say if you're technical and you need help getting your voice out there, reach out. Let's set up an intro call and get to know each other, get to know your goals, and we'll see if it's a fit in real time.
Thank you for walking us through Jordan Yates Marketing, why you started the company, what Jordan Yates Marketing offers to their clients, and how we are a good fit for technical companies.
Absolutely. And if you guys want to learn more, reach out to us. It's Pretty simple. Just send us a message on LinkedIn or, submit something on the website. There's a contact us form, but we'll put all that in the description.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Bye.